I finally got round to continuing the loft bed. If you haven't seen part 1, be sure to check it out. I was fine procrastinating on this, but the nagging from number 2 just became unbearable. So the pink paint throttle was set to 4 and I set out to complete the build. Let's get into it. So for the tabletop, I bought these sheets of pine, which are surprisingly expensive, I have to say. I bought one that's 50 centimeters wide and the other one that's 40 centimeters wide. And I'm going to be making both shelves and the tabletop, which is going to be an L-shaped tabletop with these sheets. Let's get into it. That's a straight cut, but it's still jagged along the line. So I'm going to use my cheap ass router. I'm really disappointed in this router, by the way. Should have got the DeWalt one. It's just like twice as expensive, but it's definitely worth it. Don't buy a cheap router. Just don't. It comes out really nice though. You see that? Yeah. Okay. I'm going to do some shelves. I'm going to do enough for 2 rooms, because down the line I'm going to be doing number 1's room as well. I want them to be 27 centimeters deep, each one of them. So here I have 52, and here. While I get complicated with the dimensions of the shelves, I'll mention that the brackets for these shelves were 3D printed. I took the design from MakerWorld. The prints can be scaled to whatever size you need, and each one of these brackets weighs around 100 grams, costing more or less $1.5. The structure ensures they are strong enough to hold up a shelf, which is pretty good. When I started this project, I told my daughter that she can choose the colours, whatever colours she wants. But then she started asking for stuff like, let's colour the ceiling pink. So I realised there need to be some limits. Although, why should I limit her? Why not let her colour the ceilings pink? Well, the reason is because then I'll have to deal with it 2 years later when she doesn't want it anymore. And I don't want to deal with the pink ceiling. So we kind of compromised. With the table, I said to her that I want to do a white table because it made more sense to me. But she said, no, I don't want a white table. I want a pink table. So we compromised again. It's going to be partially pink and partially white. You don't want to be that cool parent that just lets the kids do whatever they want. But we realize how crazy it is. But we should let the kids do whatever they want, especially if it's colours in their own bedroom, right? Going to use a piece of PLA that I broke off something else to use as like something that catches them together. go. I still have 2 more bedrooms to get through. One of them contains 2 kids, which should be interesting. But like I've said in the past, making too many wood-based projects in a row gives the false impression that I am a woodworker wannabe. The next few projects will be electronics based, so stay tuned for that. And as always, thank you for your time, and I will see you on the next one.